Today we're talking about one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in modern business history. It's the story of Lego. And no, the story isn't about plastic bricks, damn it, because that would be too much fun. What we're going to talk about is what happens when a company forgets what made it successful in the first place and how it finds its way back. Now, believe it or not, by the early 2000s, Lego was in serious trouble. Now, that sounds really surprising when you consider that today, Lego is arguably the most successful toy company in the world. But back in 2003 and 2004, the company was losing money fast, and it was actually edging towards a severe financial crisis. Some reports at the time suggest Lego was actually losing around $1 million a day. Now, the business had expanded into all sorts of different areas, into theme parks, clothing, television projects, video games, and a growing number of product lines. Now revenue was growing, but profits were just disappearing. What was the problem? Lego had forgotten one of the most important ideas in strategy. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Now, in business theory speak, this is often linked to the concept of core competencies, which was developed by Brahalad and Hamel. The theory argues that companies create sustainable advantage by focusing on what they do uniquely well. For Lego, that wasn't theme parks, it wasn't clothing, it wasn't television. What was it? Well, it was the humble brick. Now, then in 2004, a 35-year-old former consultant named Jorgen Vig Knudstorp became CEO. Now, he looked at the business and made a really radical decision. Instead of chasing more growth, Lego needed to simplify. The company sold off all of its non-core businesses, including the Legoland parks. It cut around a third of its product range, and it dramatically reduced manufacturing complexity. At one point, Lego had over 12,000 unique pieces in production. That number was slashed to make the operations more efficient. Now, here's where another management theory appears. This is a textbook example of Porter's generic strategies. Michael Porter famously argued that companies get into trouble when they become stuck in the middle. In other words, when they're lacking an overall strategy or direction to help them compete. And Lego had become exactly that. It was trying to be a toy company, a media company, an entertainment company, a theme park operator, and a lifestyle brand all at the same time. Knudstorp's solution was focus. Lots of focus. But here's the clever bit. Lego didn't actually stop innovating. It just became more disciplined about how it innovated. Instead of asking kind of what new businesses can we enter, the company started asking, how can we make these bricks more valuable? That shift changed everything. Successful partnerships with franchises like Star Wars were expanded. Lego developed stronger relationships with its fan communities. Adult collectors became a serious market segment, although I was clearly immune to its effects. Now, new product lines were built around the core building experience rather than replacing it. Now, this also aligns closely with another strategy concept known as the Ansoff Matrix. Rather than constantly diversifying into totally new businesses, Lego focused more heavily on product development and market development around its existing strengths. In other words, it stuck to products and markets it understood and were good at tapping into. And the results were extraordinary. From being close to collapse in 2004, Lego became the world's largest toy company by 2015. Revenue grew from about $1.1 billion in 2004 to around $10.8 billion by 2024, with annual growth of over 13%. That's a rate that would make even a child with a brand new Lego set jealous, especially when you realise that in 2024, the global toy market actually shrank by 1%. So what can students and future business leaders learn from Lego? I would say 3 things. First, growth and success are not the same thing. Many companies fail because they kind of pursue growth without understanding how that makes their profits in kind of an underlying basis. Second, strategy is often about deciding what not to do. The businesses that succeed are often ruthless about what they're going to focus on. And third, innovation works best when it builds on your strengths rather than distracting from them. Lego didn't save itself by becoming something new. It saved itself by remembering what it already was. And perhaps that's the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the path to growth isn't found by adding more. Sometimes it's found by taking things away and focusing on what you're good at. Thanks for listening. If you want to know more about business strategy and how it works, feel free to drop me a like and a follow and check out my other videos.